coming up in this video.
I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to get that out. This is what you got to do. There's a building site. I think this is the owner walking down to me.
Everything's repairable, but for what it's worth, I don't think it's worth bothering. No. To be honest, we've not had one of these full stop, have we? I have it, and the guy actually told me he run out of talent.
It occurred to me sitting here putting this video together, I never actually did an intro. That was not the easiest day's work I've ever done, so roll VT. I've just arrived, guys. Obviously, I don't mind a challenge, but this is what we're up against. So I'm on this little lane, and there's all these vehicles parked here. And there's the car. I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to get that out of there. But these vans parked here. And all the badges have been pulled off as well. They was on the pictures. And you see you hanging down there. This must have been where he had the accident. Bumper's pulled off there. I mean, was this where he had the accident? I don't know. I know one thing, that I've just driven all that way. I'm hoping that they can get a couple of these vehicles moved. The chap also said, because the insurance was going to come, he removed the exhaust. So I need to go to his house and grab that after. Oh, guys, I hope I'm not stuck here for hours trying to get it out. That's a pain, isn't it? Right, we'll see how we get on. This is what you got to do. There's a building site. Obviously, the car's right up there. I've had to walk down. It's these workmen. Their vans are there. So a couple of the lads are going to come up and move their vans for me. And then hopefully we can get on it and get it loaded. I think this is the owner walking down to me. Guys, that was hard. I mean really hard. I've got it on the back. I've got it nearly touching the bulkhead. I had to drag it up, pull it across. The front wheel is completely ripped off it. While I was there, the local borough council turned up and said, oh, I'm just about to put a ticket on that car. We're taking it away. It's been abandoned. And the young lad I bought it off said, well, it's not abandoned. It's taxed. It's MOT'd and it's got the number plates on it. And clearly it has. But I mean, it is a shame. He has removed, like, he's taken the whole exhaust system off of it. He's taken the intercooler off of it. I mean, I've got the original standard one in the boot. I've got the exhaust in the boot. But he said it come with the original cat, and it turns out it don't come. It's one of those, you know. It is what it is. I'm not going to moan about it. It was cheap. I think it's... I mean, the engines, guys, I'm not even going to go on. Honestly, I need to get on the road. I am, what time are we now? It's took me over an hour to get that on, and I've got just over 3 hours to get home, so I'll probably get home about 7. I'll update in the morning when we get to the yard. While I am on my jolly on my way home, guys, I'm going to let you quickly see this car vertical check that we did, obviously, before we set off on a 4-hour drive to purchase the car. So, theft, accidents, clearly highlighted there in amber. That does shock me a little bit because he said the car has just been written off category S and he's just offered it to us and said, how soon can you come and get it? And I said, now. So finance all clear, spotted activity, registered United Kingdom the 7th 2012. You got all your ownership changes in, number plate changes. It's had a couple of private plates on it, including the one that he's just removed. So that car may not come up in some certain places for a minute until it updates. Stolen vehicle check, United Kingdom, Romania, Czech Republic, Canada, just to name a few. Yeah, so that hasn't come up. And that is purely down to the fact that it's just had a plate transfer, the private plate removed from the car. That will update shortly. Damage detected December 2022. So he must have had the accident before Christmas and he's just obviously getting sorted out and offered it to us. Category S write-off can be repaired following obviously the structural damage repairs on the vehicle. This check was performed in the United Kingdom, US, Poland, France, Canada, just to name a few. And don't forget, guys, on these checks, it does show you everything, your write-off dates if it's previously been listed for sale, service records, specs and equipment, and right down the bottom, of course, you've got those 9 helpful tips and tricks for things for you to check when you're purchasing your vehicle. So even if you haven't been out and bought a vehicle before, there is 9 very, very helpful tips and tricks on here that I personally do use as well. So check the condition of the tyres, detect suspension and frame issues, beware of head gasket failure, check all fluid levels under the bonnet, check the colour of the exhaust smoke, etc, etc. They're all on there, guys, for each individual vehicle. I want to thank Car Vertical for the continued support on the channel, and to benefit from a discount off your must-do check, use the link in the description or the code SR10 from any browser. There was no point me rolling straight into it outside my house, so I've come straight to the yard this morning. I feel a lot more refreshed now I've had a sleep, but I told you on the phone, didn't I? It was a bit of a nightmare to get this one on.
You sent me a little video, didn't you, of where it was parked?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely unbelievable. And it was a bit of a weird one, Chris, not going to lie. I mean, he was a young lad, never really dealt with anyone like that before. I don't think he'd dealt with the insurance company before, but
right.
The front bumper, everything was all sort of undone, and I was like, what's going on here? And then I touched it and bits started falling off, and it turned out he'd actually had the bumper off, removed the huge intercooler that it had on it.
At the end of the day, if we bought this car from Copart, that kind of stuff can happen. So there's no
that would have
getting stressed.
No, definitely not.
That's the game, isn't it?
That would have happened anyway, because he said the insurance are coming to get it.
Yeah.
So he actually offered this car over a week ago, and he was waiting for the insurance to come back to him.
It don't look bad, Rob.
No, it doesn't look too bad. It's got a few scabs around it.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the back bumper's been pulled off. It's pulled the paint off.
In the previous,
He said where it's been parked, someone's obviously stolen the badges off of it and various other little bits and pieces. But, yeah. Do you think that wing's repairable?
Well, everything's repairable, but for what it's worth, I don't think it's worth bothering.
No, we'll have to buy one for it. So it wants all the suspension there, and if you that leg's actually going back, but look at that caliper. Yeah, it's actually twisted right round, isn't it? So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Floating, isn't it? It's going to need the leg, everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think some of this damage I actually caused.
Right.
That door does open. I tried pulling it up the back of the truck forwards, no chance. That wheel just went straight back, and it was laying on its side.
Yeah.
Like the wheel was actually laying flat almost, and I thought it's just going to wreck it. I'll chuck it on the. I'll chuck it on backwards. Worst it's going to do is pull the bumper off.
I think that's missed most of that A post, don't you?
Yeah.
That's very lucky.
Well, the door did open perfectly, but obviously where I've dragged it up backwards, I've pulled that.
Oh, I see.
It was already marked.
Yeah, the wheel.
Yeah.
When you pulled it forwards, the wheel stayed behind.
Exactly.
Pushed the wing back.
I mean, it had already chinned the door, but now you can't even open it. And of course, the back bumper is just.
Yeah.
He told me he hadn't had it off, but someone's had it off, haven't they?
I think for the money, Rob, I'm well pleased, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, are we going into prices? Or?
Not at the moment, but I don't think we'd have bought it out of Copart for that money. Put it that way, without giving anything away. Do you?
Nope.
So
I'm no good at. I think the word is physics, but honestly, my truck drives beautiful. It always has.
Yeah.
On the way home, between 50 and 55, it was shaking. It was horrible. And would it be something to do with the fact that the downfall to that spoiler is going the wrong way against the wind?
Yeah, it could be.
It's got to be that.
Could be, yeah.
It was awful, Chris, it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump
catching the wind, yeah.
Yeah, let's jump inside. I'll show you it inside. All this was all pulled out. And of course, I didn't want to get stopped for an unsafe load, so I actually stopped and pushed it all back in.
It's all right, the grills, isn't it?
Yeah. The intercooler, the standard one, is in the boot.
Right.
And I actually removed it because it only had one Jubilee holding it, and it was hanging down here, so I've taken it off. And while I was there, I did say to him, does it run? He went, well, yeah, it did do. So I have started it up. It's just very noisy. But look how lovely that is inside.
Yeah, it's nice, Rob. That is nice. Well, we've not had one of these on the channel, have we?
No.
To be honest, we've not had one of these full stop, have we?
I have, yeah.
Oh, have
years
you?
ago, but
Was
not
it?
on the channel, yeah. 6-speed manual. I've got all of the caps down there, so both washer jet covers and the
that's
towing eye, because I had to find the towing eye to... I'm just going to show in the boot what I got with it. So there's the back box.
Oh, right, yep.
And he said a recovery driver actually bent that, getting it off.
Right.
Where he said it was a complete lash up. There's the original intercooler. Unfortunately, a bit of dirt on it. You've got the centre section there.
It's not damaged though, is it?
No, and is that stainless, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he said it had a full stainless system, and it's got a £400 stainless competition cat on it. It's been remapped, but he's assured me it doesn't go pop, 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 bang.
Good.
So
We don't like pop, pop, bang.
no. But yeah, see the badge. I don't know what anyone's going to get from that. There's someone where he lives now driving around in a Metro with an ST badge on it.
Yeah.
From this side
very
though,
good.
looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yep.
I was going to stop and get it washed and get the truck washed morning, but I guess it's a case of this is stuck. This is not coming off. We need to work and get, I need to, I suppose first call, full breakers, late stuff, Gala Motors.
Did it come with the don't know.
I hope so. I've got stacks of paperwork with it. We're waiting for the logbook because he had a private plate. His insurance company said, yes, remove that, so he's done it.
Yeah.
He showed me the certificate to put these plates back on, just waiting for a logbook. So,
Sweet.
yeah, I guess I would go ahead and say I don't even need to jack this up and see what it needs, because it needs everything there.
Doesn't
but I am going to jack it
Might
up,
as
get the
well,
wheel
yeah,
off,
yeah.
just in case the lower arm's ripped out of the bed.
Yeah.
Even though you can see the lower arm there, bent round, and drive shaft.
Yeah, I guess if you do that, we bring it in the yard
And for the first time,
and you get the splash out as well.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
we can see exactly what we're working with, can't you?
also for the first time, people always say, I wonder what happened to it. And the guy actually told me he ran out of talent.
Yeah.
He went round the corner, he said he was doing about 45, but it was tipping down with rain. He was going far too fast and he lost it.
Well, nice. No bags are gone.
No airbag damage at all.
That is
Let's
good.
get it in, get it jacked up, and let me get that wheel off. Just pulled it in the yard, and the idea of pulling it in the yard is we're closer to the workshop door where I can get all the bits and pieces. But I've just rung the chap that we bought this off. There's no lock and wheel nut key in the car.
That's not good, is it?
No. But he said he'll have a look when he gets home and dig it out, but I might as well chop round this and get that off, because that wheel's toast anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Don't quite know how I'm going to get a jack underneath it yet either. We'll work it out. Let's get it up in the air and get all of that mess stripped off of it. Oh, I'm happy now, guys. I'm happy. I thought this is going to be one of them, a real nightmare, you know, from the start, because of all the problems. Because I weren't worried about that wheel, what I've done was put a slitting disc through the locking wheel nut. Let's find it actually. This has got like the security ring around the outside, and I cut through one side, and then I spun the ring round and cut through the other side. And there's both half of it there. And as soon as I've done that, I've just got an old socket that fitted over the end of it, and it come undone really easy. and you probably see I undone the wheel nuts with that little bar, so they wasn't that tight anyway, but we have got lucky. So the hub snapped off of the leg. It's bent the bracket there, but you can see, I don't know if they're factory, but it looks like this has been broken off before and it's been re-welded, possibly. But a tiny little mark there in the tower, see it? That just wants tidying up. But the bit that I thought was going to be smashed to pieces was all down in this A-post. And it looks like all it's done is tip that way slightly, and literally with a little bit of hammering, I mean, I've got the wrong tools here, but a little bit of hammering, that'll come back absolutely perfect. So actually, it was actually the wing that took the majority of the damage there. Lower arm, you can see, is all bent. I mean, I haven't got to the subframe yet, but it does actually look okay, but we're not going to know until we actually remove it. Drop link, drive shaft, you can see it's pulled out this end, and you can see it was, you know, it's quite a whack. He's whacked the curb, and there's not much left of the inside of the wheel, but all of the gearbox looks okay. These ECUs, it's quite common. You'll see a lot of Fords down at the salvage auctions where they're actually bolted up here and they do shear off because they're on like a plastic mounting. So I'll need to get a new housing for that and just check through all these wires, make sure nothing's touched. And you can see there as well, that bracket there, radiator bracket, you can see it's just slightly bent back. So we'll have to check that nothing's broken off the bottom of the radiator, but it does all feel okay, and it looks like it is just bent the bracket. So may even get away with straightening that up and putting a bit of paint on it, but I guess they're not really expensive. And that is as far as I've got with it, but so far so good, no complaints as of yet. Let's carry on, get the rest of it stripped out, because I've already spoke to Gallardo Motors and he's got most of this. So if we can get it off, know exactly what we need before we go, hopefully we can come back with every single bit. Let's get on. Very enjoyable and satisfying to do, guys. Front wings off. Look at that lower arm. I don't actually ever think I've seen one almost folded back on itself, but there it is. You've got the strut there, the shock. The hub I've just left hanging down there because, believe it or not, although that brake pipe is knackered, it hasn't popped it, it's not leaking. That bracket does need to be bent back up. So I'm going to leave that in there for a minute until we're ready to change it. Just got to take the little end out there for the drums, the drop link, and of course take the steering arm off. But we got so lucky with this car. Definitely, I actually thought it was a lot worse. Now that wing's removed and all that suspension's gone, it is, apart from bending a couple of brackets, it's ready to go back together. There is also some little scratches and bits and pieces, but you've got to expect that where that leg's gone back and it's rubbed against it. There's no physical damage there apart from that tiny little mark I've set up there. So what we'll do is actually put a little bit of paint on that before we put it back together. But I'm over the moon. I really am over the moon with it. I've now got my substantial list, so I'm going to head straight to Gallardo Motors and pick up all of the bits for this car that they've got there, because I want it off the back of the truck and it'll be lovely to get it on its wheels. Of course, initially the plan was get that back on its wheels today and get it off the back of the truck. I've actually achieved a lot more in this video than I was expecting to, i.e. going and getting all of the parts for it. We're missing a side skirt and a front bumper skin. I've already found a front bumper skin. I've messaged the people, so fingers crossed they come back to me. And of course, by the time you're watching this video, they'll already be on the way. So really moved on quite a lot with it. Nice to just go to Gallardo Motors, one place, and pick everything up at the same time. The only reason I didn't buy the ECU box while I was there is because I knew that I was going to Kent Paints to grab some bits for Chris. So it just made sense. Parts Plus is around the corner and we saved £30–40 there. So Guys, I know we haven't got it off the back of the truck, and that is what I wanted to intend in this video, but it is dusk. It's just started absolutely tipping it down, so I'm not going to stand out there in the rain doing it. We're going to pick up in the morning where we left off for me and start recording another video. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you do, hit that thumbs up. Let us know what you think of the Focus ST in the comment section down below. Not something we'd normally do, a bit of a souped up, sporty boy racer, call it what you like car, but I think that car's got a lot of potential. It's a lovely colour. It's really grown on me in just the time that we've got it. And it's a really nice spec car as well. I know they do all different specs, so it's got that lovely heated black leather in it. It's 6-speed, I think they all are. And Darren at Gala Motors, while I was there, did say that looks like a Recon gearbox in that car, just where I was showing him the damage of the car. So guys, anyway, I'm getting carried away and I'm waffling on again. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share on all your social networking sites. Follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds. And of course, Chris has his own one, and that's Salvage Rebuilds Chris. You can follow him on there. We'll see you all very, very soon in the next one.